The NFL season finally kicks off tonight with a real game after 4 weeks of meaningless preseason exhibition play. That little rematch, New Orleans and Minnesota, you all remember what happened when these two hooked up at the Superdome last year in the NFC title game. I don't think I have to give any details of that one, especially if you follow Brett Favre's career. Hey guys, Al DeMarco here. This is going to be your Thursday video report. And I've got a free pay coming up here in just a moment on your SEC contest between Auburn and Miss State. One important thing I want to tell you here. If you want to talk football with me, one-on-one, live, later today, here's the deal. Doing a radio show here this evening between 5:45 and 6:45 Eastern Time. 5:45 and 6:45 Eastern Time. If you'd like to call in and talk about Sunday's NFL card with me, just give me a buzz. 1-800-876-9736. 1-800-876-9736. This is a nationwide radio show I'll be doing it here tonight, once again, between 5:45 and 6:45 Eastern Time, and that number again is 1-800-876-9736. You want to talk about any games on the NFL Sunday card, guys? I am certainly ready to do so. Quick word about last night's card. You know, I had one play, another 5-dime play, of which I've now won. I'm on a 23-11 roll, dating back to 2 Mondays ago, and it was a 5-dime release on the Minnesota Twins. And I told you that the Twins were right there when I released it at about 155, quickly approaching my 160 personal cap. And that's eventually where they actually closed most places. And I said that I thought in this particular case, it was more important to play the Twins straight up than to play them on the run line, even though I could have been getting plus money at $1.30. Because although I like the Twins and they have been on one hell of a roll, I just wasn't that confident in going ahead and laying the 1.5 runs. You saw what happened last night. Kansas City scores 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning, 4-3 final. Definitely the right betting strategy there. Sometimes, guys, you've got to be willing to go ahead and invest on the favorite. As for tonight's card, 5-dime trifecta, I'm looking at a 2-team teaser between the Vikings, Saints, and Temple Central, Michigan, mixing the sports, a 2-team teaser. And I like 2-team teasers, as I've told you before, I think when the numbers are right. Also, I have a play on the Auburn, Mississippi State total and the Braves, Cardinals in baseball, and those 5-dime releases, as mentioned, dating back to 2 Mondays ago on a 23-11 run. Quick word about the NFL. NFL preseason, straight-up winners. Did you have that crystal ball I always talk about? Because you would have won a fortune. Straight up preseason winners, 56-7-2 this year. No surprise, they went 56-3-4 last year in the preseason. And last year, preseason, regular season, and right through the Super Bowl. Straight up winners in the NFL covered at a 82% clip, going 265, 58, and 9 versus the odds makers. Back to preseason again here, just for a moment. In the month of August there, the underdogs were 3 games over 500. When all was said and done, the home favorites, dead even, 26-26-2. Does it have any correlation going into tonight's game between the Vikings and the Saints? I don't know. All I know is those damn straight-up winners covered at an 82% clip last year. So, what can I tell you? 92% clip the past 2 preseasons combined. Interesting line moves in this game. You know, early in the week it started moving up with New Orleans. Now it's coming back the other way. And the line is all over the board in this contest as I do this video report for you. You can get New Orleans anywhere. I've seen a couple of 4.5s, mainly 5s, all the way up to 6, depending on where you're shopping around. And that's why I always say you've got to have multiple sources to price shop when you're going to play any game, especially a single game on a weeknight where you're going to have the greatest variations in the prices. So obviously, if you're playing the dog or the favorite, it should have influenced where you're going to get your action on this particular game. College football, week number 1. The favorites were actually 1 game under 500 last week. And that is very unusual because generally the first 2 weeks of the college football season, the favorites have an overwhelming advantage, usually in the 65 to 70% clip in terms of covering, because generally the odds makers simply do not have sharp lines in those opening 2 weeks because it's hard for them to get a handle on the games. Was it luck? Or was it simply the fact that the prices were good? I don't know. I can't really tell you, even after 25 years in this business. But they were 1 game under 500 last week. Double-digit favorites, who are usually exceptionally strong the opening couple weeks of college football. They were 1 game under 500 last week as well. True home favorites. I'm not talking about Colorado and Colorado State when they met in Denver, okay? Or the Boise State VCU game when they played in Landover. No. True home favorites last week were 13, 11, and 2 against the spread. Road favorites, such as Auburn tonight, laying 1.5 to 2 at Mississippi State, were 4 and 5 against the number. And let's look at that Auburn-Mississippi State game tonight, because that is going to be your free selection for this Thursday night card. Currently, as I said, Auburn is about a 1.5 to 2 point favorite here. I'm kind of surprised they're not a heavier favorite, but that's okay, because I like the Tigers in this spot. Now, both of these teams opened up with blowout victories last week. Auburn taking care of business with ease, beating up Arkansas State at home 52-26, but you're supposed to beat Arkansas States of this world by double-digit margins, right? But the thing in that game that I took out of it was the impressive debut of their new quarterback, Cam Newton, a Florida transfer. This guy is big. 6'5", 247, run that option attack, that spread attack that the Tigers have with perfection. Big, burly runner, ran it well, threw it well against Arkansas State. 357 total yards and 5 touchdowns in the game. Now, Mississippi State, year number 2 of rebuilding program under Dan Mullen, the former offensive coordinator at Florida. He happened to be there when Newton was with the Gators briefly, and many thought that Newton would end up in Starkville rejoining Mullen. Instead, he spurned them and went to Auburn. And you know how those SEC fans just love that type of crap, don't you? Mississippi State last week, 49-7 rout over Memphis. I think Memphis is a little bit better program than Arkansas State, all things considered. So that was a pretty darn impressive victory for a rebuilding team. They rotate their quarterbacks. Junior Chris Ralph and a redshirt freshman, in fact, Tyler Russell. They combined for 372 yards and 5 touchdowns in that game. Now, Auburn has won 4 straight in Starkville, covering 3 of those 4 games. Auburn also 16-1 run straight up in their SEC openers. 16-1. They've covered 13 of those 17 games. As for Mississippi State, well, you've got the polar opposite. They have lost 10 consecutive SEC lid lifters. Lid lifters. Say that 3 times quickly. Lid lifters. Lid lifters. Just a thought. They've lost 10 straight SEC openers, and they've gone 1-9 against the spread in those games. The favorite is also on a 13-5 run in this series. Auburn has won 8 of the last 9 meetings straight up, and Auburn is more than just Cam Newton, who I was talking about. They have an outstanding ground game as well with Ontario McCaleb and Michael Dyer. So I think they will be able to control the line of scrimmage here. Time of possession should be a barn burner as well. Like them a lot in this particular game. So I'm going to go with Auburn, laying the 1.5 to 2 points here. Wouldn't be surprised if this one goes down just a tick by game time, as I think there's going to be more public money coming in on Mississippi State. But Auburn is your free play. And again, if you want to talk about Sunday's NFL games, give me a call. Can't guarantee you're going to get through. I'm sure with all the people that watch this, it's going to be pretty busy, but we will roll through as many calls as possible. 1-800-876-9736. Again, you can only call between 5:45 and 6:45 Eastern Time tonight. 5:45 and 6:45 Eastern tonight. That number again, 1-800, I feel like an infomercial guy, 1-800-876-9736. Good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you again on Friday. Yeah, it's almost here. Take it easy, guys.